Ladies and gents, welcome to the latest project, a 1992 GT Vert. Now, this car has actually been in for restoration and or upgrades, and I should probably use the air quotes when I say that because I and the owner of this car do not feel like it's up to snuff. And maybe there was some miscommunication, I don't know, I wasn't there for the conversation between the shop and the owner, but this car's got a lot of interesting things going on with it that I can't quite figure out. And I just know this from talking to the owner of the car because I've literally just pulled it in here and not turned a single wrench on it. So what I wanted to do is take you guys along for the ride, and I hate to say it this way, but kind of pick apart the things that have been done to it. And then we're going to turn this into a little go forward mini series where we fix all this stuff. But the end goal is we're going to get this car to the point where the owner wants it to be. Right, so again, 92 GT Vert. Now, the owner of this car is not the original owner. He did buy it in somewhat, I think, original format and wanted to build himself, you know, the high school hot rod that we all either had or dreamed of having. And this is kind of the overall outcome. Now, he's, again, employed a shop to do a lot of this stuff, and I gotta say it, folks. I don't know if they maybe just didn't have the time or what, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this car. So we'll start with the paint. The shop that did it is actually known for body work, okay? And for what it's worth, I think did a pretty good job. Like, the paint job does look nice. Now, you're probably already caught this. There is some GT Valence modifications that went on here. Not probably the best cut job. Maybe had a dull blade too. And I know a lot of you hate this stuff, but this was a modification that apparently the owner wanted to have, and well, here we are. So to each their own, right? Everybody's got their thing. This is definitely going to need to be fixed up. I mean, hell, this hole is way deeper and the exhaust sits up a lot higher than that side. I don't know, might have to put my own little touch on that. But okay, 4-bolt car, okay, rear drum brakes. The interior, I don't believe was touched by the shop. All right, it's the standard 50 shades of gray after all these years of use and abuse and sun. So interior definitely needs a freshen up. But you know what, like, as far as Vert standards are concerned, these windows seal up pretty good. If I'm being honest, they actually seal up better than my Vert. So anyway, that's cool. There was a top installed on it. However, this car spent a little bit of time outside, so she's a little dirty. And I don't know if the top was used or it just weathered this quick, but I don't know, kind of interesting, right? Now, more to the things that I do know a little bit about. This mill was gone through and rebuilt and redone. I don't have the sheet. There is apparently a build sheet, but I believe it's just a honed 302. I don't even know if it was bored out or anything, but the bottom end is new. And actually, all the top end stuff, aside from the intake and injectors, and that's actually part of the story, are new. So fresh bottom end, we got a set of trick flow. I don't know which trick flows they are, but anyway, a set of trick flow heads, 3G alternator. I think it probably got a new power steering pump, old compressor. This is some of the stuff that drives the owner of this car nuts. He's like, I think he expected that when he got this car back, he could pop the hood and have this be a little bit of a showpiece. However, it's not much of a showpiece, right? So, trick flow heads, a set of, super tall Ford Racing valve covers, which ultimately led to Kind of hard to see. I should have had a light, but there's a spacer between the lower and upper intake in this thing. I hate those bloody spacers. I really, truly do. But I think he's got a bit of a vacuum leak going on, because this car, when, you know, just pulling it in and stuff, I mean, the idle's all over the place. It screams vacuum leak. So I got a funny feeling that spacer's causing some grief. Anyway, that thing's coming out. We got to figure out a set of valve covers, because the reason they ran the spacer was to clear, you know, well, this breather. And then over here, the throttle cable and everything off the throttle body was hitting the valve covers. So they spaced it up. It was a band-aid, and that's typically what those bloody spacers do. Is there a band-aid for some other bigger issue? It's like, let's just fix the cause of the root problem, which is the tall valve covers. We don't need these massively tall valve covers in here. So anyway, the other thing, and again, I'm just kind of piecing together the story here, but the owner of this car wanted a bit of a stock look under the hood, and I think that's why this stock upper and lower intake are in the picture, because it doesn't make sense to have a stock upper and lower intake on a set of great big heads. Like, I think you guys know where I'm going with this. And then we got stock injectors, but it's interesting because when you turn the key and prime the fuel pump, this thing sounds like it's got 1,000 liter per hour pump in it. And I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, there's a sheet of, like a build sheet of all the bits and pieces that went into this. I'm hoping that there's something that tells me what that pump is, just to get an idea of what we're dealing with. But anyway, injectors are way too small. The upper and lower intake are a massive choke off point for this motor. So we got to figure out the intake and some injectors for it and just clean a lot of this up. He's like, you know, I don't know why none of these wires got tucked away or anything. And you know, some people don't mind having this stuff draped around. He doesn't want any of that. So we're going to do a bit of a wire tuck on it and essentially try to figure out why it's running like shit. But like I say, I do think it's a lot of it has to do with the fact that spacer's in there and it's probably just leaking vacuum like a sieve. We got to hook the AC up. We got to get him a new compressor and a couple of lines and stuff. But yeah, figure this thing out. Now, it does have a tubular K-member on it, which you can see here. We've actually got quite a bit of poke going on the front end of this car with the front wheels, right? I think it's probably got to do with that K-member. I don't know if it's got stamped or aftermarket lower control arms. Yeah, it might. Maybe a set of coilovers in there. It does actually ride height. It does sit pretty nice. Oh, for any of you tight-eye individuals out there, you've already caught that the 5.0 emblems are in the wrong spot. Lots of little stuff, right? So yeah, I did, like, with it being lowered, it's a little hard to do this, but I've been down on one knee and kind of checked the exhaust out. It looks like that wasn't put on there all that straight. I don't know what mufflers are on it. This thing does actually sound really good, especially if you like loud cars. Trunk. Oh, hey-oh. What do we got making a nest in here? Son of a... All right. We need some mouse traps. Good gracious. Here's another one of these bloody spacers. Good grief. Again, there's just lots of little stuff from even post paint. You know, like a lot of the lights don't work, so I got to go through and figure that all out. But yeah, we're just going to try to make this car, I guess, the car that the owner wants it to be, right? Might do a rear disc brake swap on it. That was something that we talked about and he was quite interested with. Oh, it runs really hot apparently too. I haven't driven it, so I don't know when and where it's running hot. I have a feeling it probably heats up quite quickly when it's just sitting stationary idling, because these mechanical fans, right, they're great, but they're not that great when you're just sitting still, especially when you got a big set of heads and headers and everything else. You make a lot of heat under here. So we might do an electric fan swap. That was something else that he mentioned, but This is, I guess, for what it's worth, kind of the high level walk around of the outside. All right, folks, just got back from a little cruise. Had to go get some mouse traps and peanut butter from my place. But anyway, it's the first time I've driven the car, and boy, oh boy, is it loud. There is absolutely no way I could have even spoken to you while cruising down the road in this car. These mufflers, they do sound good, but you wouldn't want to do a cross-country trip in them, that's for sure. So things I've noticed, power windows do work. The lock and unlock. There's something actually going on over there. Sounds like the actuator. Oh, there we go. Lock, unlock. But nothing's going on this side, so that's no good. Horn works. Cruise actually works. The tax. What is that bumping? Wonder if there's a short in that actuator somewhere. It sounds like it's trying. There it goes, trying to unlock and lock. Weird. Some electrical gremlins. Speedo doesn't work. Tack is all over the place. It's telling me idles at like 3,500 RPM. Why is that thing doing that? It sounds like it's trying to lock and unlock itself. Maybe there's more mice in the damn door. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. There it goes again. Oh, there's something funky with the wiring of that. There it goes, door lock again. Right. The joys of fixing Fox bodies. Other things, this thing does run like silly hot. If you let it sit at a light for any extended period of time, like without any air movement going through it, you'll get like well over 200, 210, 215. She's running hot. So I'm going to investigate that first and foremost. I think electric fans would be needed, but I don't know. Maybe they didn't burp the coolant system, right? It wasn't getting those, like, usually when you got an air bubble in a system, you'll see like massive jumps and fluctuations in your coolant temp. It wasn't jumping, it was just getting really, really, really hot. So, I don't know. Maybe it's an electrical fan fix. We'll see. But yeah, lots of little stuff, ladies and gents. I don't know. It's going to be a project for sure. It does ride around quite nice. Whoever set up those coilovers has set them up comfortably. And outside of that, yeah, wheel alignment, like that's where it's telling me the wheel's straight. I don't know, they might be slightly turned, but not by much, right? So yeah, let the games begin. So there it is, folks, the 92 GT Vert that's gonna, well, hang out here on the channel for the next little bit. So I got to get a parts order going for this. The only parts that this car came with was some interior bits and pieces. Outside of that, everything's got to come new. So LMR, buckle up and get ready to start shipping some boxes north of the border, because this thing's got to get fixed. So if you like GT Vert material, ladies and gents, stick around, because we're going to have a lot of that going on in the very near future. As always, thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye for now.